yeah, and I almost forgot. Cap isn't a salutations and fist bumps, folks. Welcome back to the grid. In today's video, we're going to talk about a review of She-Hulk episode 1. So the story starts off telling the story of Jennifer Walters beautifully, weaving in her lawyer everyday issues, having to write closing statements, making sure that she says the right thing, the right time. All that stuff is portrayed beautifully in the beginning of this series. The show also humanizes her very well so that we can see the Jen part of her versus the Hulk side of her and understand that she's really trying to just be a lawyer here and not a superhero. But because we have to get to the crux of everything, we do then get the seamless transition of her Hulk journey from the beginning of the start of the episode to when her and Bruce are now inside of the car. The transition from her just being her as an attorney to her going into Hulk is also given to us very, very seamlessly without having to wonder, hey, what happened here? We then watch the unfolding of her Hulk journey from literally the beginning of a rolling car to when she first transforms, and then understanding how she's going to live with this in her actual everyday life. We also then get to see her fight with these emotions and come to terms with the emotions of, will I have a normal life? Will I still be able to be a lawyer? Am I going to actually have to be a Hulk all the time? We also then get to see her fight it out with Bruce and become a better version of Hulk than he originally thought was possible. He has this full-on Bible that he gives to her that pretty much is like, hey, you have to do these things. We might be able to skip 1 through 12 because you already mastered these, but 30 through 50, we still have to do this. And this is a 15-year long journey that you now have to. And she's like, wait a minute, bro, I don't have to do any of that. Let me show you that I'm better and I'm actually good with getting my emotions under check. Fight as she must, or fight as she may, though, she's still going to become a superhero. And in that phase of understanding who she is now as a superhero, Bruce helps her understand that, but we see her really come to grips with it when she explains to him, hey, I've been doing this as a woman my entire life. I've had to manage my emotions. I've had to keep myself quiet when I didn't want to be. I've had to put myself in uncomfortable situations when I get catcalled on the street. All of these things have happened to me in my life, which have now made me a better candidate for this Hulk journey that I'm going on now. And what you're telling me or mansplaining to me is not helping. We then see a physical fight between Bruce and Jen before she decides that she's going to go back to her normal life, or what she says is normal at this point. And it's probably the funniest part in this entire episode to me, because we see Hulk in a comical way, and I've seen memes across Instagram and things like that where it's a different type of Hulk. However, in the MCU, we've seen this arc and we kind of already know that what's coming up, or if you don't already know, what's coming up is a different type of Hulk later on. But in this show, he's seen as a family type, or the big cousin to Jen, and taking her under his wing to show, hey, here's how you do this. But she now has taken, or she now basically has put her own stamp on it and goes back to her own life. But in the courtroom, things take a different turn. So while in the courtroom, she is now faced with, or she goes with business as usual until Titania bursts through the wall after running from traffic court and decides, or she's now coaxed into becoming the Hulk, or She-Hulk, inside of the courtroom. Now inside of the courtroom, trying to go about business as usual after telling the audience at this point, which, by the way, seems to be her superpower, but I'll digress about that later. she has faced the audiences and now has said, hey, Bruce was wrong, I was right, and I can go about doing my life the way that I usually like to do it, the normal way. Inside of the courtroom, though, we see that play out completely different, because what happens is Titania bursts through the wall and almost kills the jury, where instead Jen is coaxed into turning into She-Hulk in front of everyone. And even though she didn't want to, she then becomes She-Hulk and stops Titania from killing people inside of that courtroom. So how do you feel about episode 1? Do you think this show is a W? Do you think it's an L? I, for one, I enjoy this show. I can see a lot of different Easter eggs and parallels for a bunch of different things inside the MCU. I love how it compares to the comics as well, and it makes me actually want to go read the comics a little bit more to learn more about She-Hulk, because I didn't fully indulge her as a comic reader before she got her own show, admittedly. But now that she does, it makes me want to go and read it a little bit more and understand the Easter eggs and the nuances of her character inside of the comics. So if that is the same for you, go ahead and leave a comment below. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Blurred out.